Slade Citian, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about a specific build for Solar Titan that I think might be a fun build and may have some potential for boss damage in endgame. If you want to mix and match the mods to fit, like for champions or for better DPS options that suit you. So this build centers around incandescent and solar weapons and Path of the Burning Steps for the Titan. Before we jump into everything, we're going to talk about the subclass, the weapons, and the armor, and how they all work in tandem. So we are always going to start off with our subclass. Now, for our subclass, we're using Hammer of Soul, not Burning Maul, because of those sunspots. And just, I personally like Hammer of Soul. You can definitely use Burning Maul for this too, but it's a preference. The super's a preference. We are using Towering Barricade, Strafe Lift, which can be changed out. We're using the Throwing Hammer, which will get me my burning steps stacks of Firewalker significantly faster if I don't have weapons or I can't pull up my weapons fast enough. Yeah, so we have Throwing Hammer, and then we have the Healing Grenade. Now this is, like I know we have Soul Invictus and all that stuff and Roaring Flames in the subclass, but the Healing Grenade just adds to that extra added damage resistance and that survivability. Yes, I already have 101 resilience. How can you go wrong with more survivability? Next, for our aspects, we have Roaring Flames, Final Blows with solar abilities or ignitions increase the damage of your solar abilities, and it stacks 3 times. This is very, very important. If I'm throwing a hammer at an enemy, I kill them, they have a sunspot. That sunspot's doing more damage, way more damage, 3 times the damage. Next, we have Soul Invictus. Solar ability Final Blows. Hammer of Soul impacts and defeating scorched targets creates sunspots. Your abilities regenerate faster and your super drains more slowly. These two work so well together. For my fragments, I'm using Ember of Eruption. Your solar ignitions have increased area of effect. Very, very good. Very, very fun to watch too with Incandescent. Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy, and it adds a +10 to recovery. Rapidly defeating multiple targets, Ember of Wonder with solar ignitions generates an Orb of Power. Now, I'm not really concerned about the Orb of Power because in my armor, I'm using a bunch of elemental weld mods, but I'm using it for the +10 resilience to give me that tier 10 goodness of resilience. So, and then lastly, we have Ember of Ashes. You apply more scorch stacks to targets. It's very, very important. If I'm using Incandescent on my Callus Mini tool, I get more stacks. I get my ignitions more frequently. That's pretty much all what that means. Now, coming in for the weapons. Now, these weapons are specific to me. You can use whatever you want to fit your playstyle. You can use the Solar Scout, Solar Pulse, Solar Sidearm, Solar, which actually the new auto rifle, the Emit AR2, can roll with triple tap incandescent. So you can easily put that auto rifle where the Callus Mini tool is. For my weapons, I'm using Wither Horde for just that extra added ad clear. And boss DPS, I stick a Wither Horde on a boss, boom, it's ticking away at the boss. I'm using Callus Mini tool, of course, with Threat Detector and Incandescent. Faster reloads, more explosions. Faster reloads, more explosions. Defeating a target spreads a longer lasting scorch to those nearby. More powerful combatants and opposing guardians cause scorch in a larger radius. Key, this is like the bread and butter to this whole build. This is what makes this build fun. And then lastly, I'm using Cataclysmic. Now, for this specific build, let's say I want to build up my stacks of Firewalker, right? I get ×4 stacks. Firewalker's a 40% weapon damage buff. Okay, so let's say I'm at War Priest or I'm at like a stationary boss, right? Let's say I get my ×4 stacks. I kill that last enemy for that last stack, right? I pop Wither Horde, I shoot Callus Mini tool, and then bam. For Cataclysmic, I'm not gonna want Focus Fury for this build. I'm gonna want Bait and Switch because it will allow me to benefit from the damage buff of Bait and Switch and Firewalker as they're ticking down. I have 100 resilience, 100 intellect, and 86 recovery. My third preferred stat is recovery. So coming in, starting off with the helmet, the mods for my helmet, I'm having Linear Fusion Rifle Ammo Finder for the Cataclysmic, Harmonic Siphon, because I'm using all solar weapons in a solar subclass, and I'm generating more orbs for a faster super. And I have Elemental Light. Defeating combatants with your super spawns some more elemental wells. Next we have for the arms, I have a recovery mod and I have Well of Life, and I leave these blank for champion mods if I want to insert champion mods and change weapons. I always leave these blank. I could put impact induction here for a faster grenade cooldown, or I have space for loaders if I'm not doing like an end game or champion heavy activity. Next, with the chest piece, I have thermal shock plating, I have a recovery mod, and I have font of might. And then lastly, we have path of the burning steps. We have an invigoration mod for that reduction in melee cooldown each time I pick up an orb, so I can have my hammer back faster because of my low strength, which is 43. You can't see it because of chat, but it's low, so that helps me there. I have a linear fusion rifle scavenger. If I end up running low on linear fusion rifle ammo, I can easily sub this out for absolution or a holster mod, but I don't really like to use the holster mods. And then we have elemental armaments, again generating elemental wells off of weapon kills. And then lastly, we have the last item. Now, I don't have any of these seasonal mods because they're all centered around ARC 3.0. Now, yes, I know this is a Solar 3.0 heavy build. It's always good to go back and see like what works after things like classy restoration and all of these solar heavy mods that were in last season's artifact. It's always good to go back and see like what you can make and what still works. So here I have a minor recovery mod. I have enhanced bomber for that reduction in grenade cooldown when I use my barricade, and then distribution reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets. So literally I'm getting my abilities on a faster cooldown, and I'm getting my grenade pack a little faster too. And then we have Well of Ordnance. Picking up a solar elemental well grants you additional grenade energy. So I have multiple avenues to keep my abilities up and to keep me alive in everything from weapons, armor to subclass. Isn't like the main focus isn't really boss DPS all of the time. It's mainly ad clear, and it's most importantly like it's just a fun build. You don't have to run this in grandmasters or master raids or anything like that. Oh well, it's not optimal. I don't fucking care if it's optimal or not. You just have fun with the build. Like, this is why I'm making this specific build for you guys.